Trout routes combine stream maps and river data to help you find fishing access faster. Be confident on the water with fishing access points, real-time stream gauges, and public access, now brought to you by Onyx Maps. Whether you're looking for blue lines, gold medal rivers, or something new in your backyard, Trout Routes has the data to get you on the water fast. Destination Angler podcast listeners can try 1 month of Trout Routes Pro for free by clicking on the link in the episode description. Do what I do and put more access in your hands and explore the water you love with Trout Routes today. This week on the Destination Angler.
My buddy and I had been just trumping this spot. His dog was in and out of the water. Really wasn't thinking much about it.
Yeah.
And he had gotten a new rod. I was like, let me try it. 2 drifts in, hook this thing. It goes around a corner. I'm chasing it. It goes around the next. So I put a lot of pressure trying to stop it. And I told my buddy, I was like, I foul hooked a carp. There's no way that's a trout. And then I see this brown trout head flip over.
Wow. Really?
Lost my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Scream a little bit.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it.
And that was Mike Anderson with a giant brown trout on the Truckee River. Hey, if you like the show, please share it with a buddy. Welcome to the Destination Angler Podcast, the podcast for anglers who travel. And I'm your host, Steve Haig. We go right to the source, the local guides and experts, to build your knowledge of top fishing locations around North America. It's a big world out there. Now go and fish it.
I'm going away for a while, but I'll be back soon. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hey anglers, welcome back to another episode of the Destination Angler, brought to you by High and Dry Fishing, where science and performance meet. By Got Fishing, crafting world-class fly fishing adventures specially designed to your level of experience and budget. By Adamsville Fishing Gear, the trusted source for quality fly fishing gear built to last at an affordable price. And by Trout Routes. Coming up on the Destination Angler, we explore the land of big. That's the Upper Columbia River in British Columbia. And we're talking big country, big water, and big trout. Be sure to backcast to catch the last episode on the remote backcountry of Bristol Bay, Alaska, where we chase trophy rainbows pushing 30 inches and dodge 1,000-pound Alaskan brown bears. You won't want to miss these shows. Hey folks, today our destination is the technical trout waters of the Truckee River in Nevada and California with Mike Anderson, head guide at the Reno Fly Shop. Mike gives us a detailed rundown on the Truckee, along with stories of ornery wild horses blocking river access, giant browns in skinny water, and trout so big it scared the pants off one of his clients. As a bonus, yes, we dive into the legendary Pyramid Lake, home to monster Lahontan Cutthroat trout and one of the best shots at a 10-pound trout in the lower 48. So check your backing, tighten up your drag, and hang on tight as we hear from Mike.
Well, folks, today we are headed to the spectacular eastern slope of the Sierras to explore the Truckee River. And we've got Mike Anderson, who's head guide at the Reno Fly Shop. He's an expert. He's one fishy dude. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you for having me, Steve. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. So I don't know about you, but when I think of Reno, first thing that comes to mind is casinos.
Yeah.
Right? But I've talked to several people in Reno who are into the outdoors. They're like, no, man, this is an outdoors town. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's definitely shifted in the last probably like 10 years. Growing up, it was very much central to gaming, gambling, all of that stuff. But in the last 10 years, Reno's had a resurgence for the outdoor community. We're very fortunate to have the Truckee River and all the water sources that we'll talk about, but also access to Lake Tahoe. There's, I believe, 8 ski resorts within about an hour drive of Reno. So it's definitely become more of an outdoors town.
Yeah. Yeah. And hunting's good too, right?
Hunting's very good if you can get a tag. I'm on 3 years of a drought right now, but
really? For an elk?
For deer even, yeah.
For deer? You really? It's that hard to get a tag for like a mule deer or whitetail, or for what?
It's not hard, but I'm not lucky. So it didn't happen the last 3 years in a row. So
you're only lucky when you take clients, fly fishing, and
exactly.
They all get lucky, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a real mecca for the fly angler. Folks out there listening, got not only the Truckee, but you got Pyramid Lake, East Fork of the Walker, Middle Fork of the Feather. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into talking about some of these rivers. And from what I hear, the Truckee is world famous for complex currents and, fast, deep pocket water and some really big trout. So things that'll get you real screaming, and get your heart pounded. So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So Mike's here to tell us all about it. Mike's a lifelong Reno native, 20 years of fly fishing experience, 9 years guiding clients on the Truckee, Pyramid, other places. So anyway, can't wait. You got a degree in criminal justice.
I do. Yeah, I wanted to be
Yeah.
a crime scene investigator. And yeah, I went into the mental health field after that. I ran a couple of juvenile probation parole group homes and
Wow.
then transitioned to adult mental health care. And then the Reno Fly Shop reopened its doors in 2014. And I started guiding, I believe, in 2016. So,
No
yeah.
kidding. How did you go from mental health, juvenile people to fly fishing? How did you make that jump? Like,
Yeah.
imagine you've been fly fishing all your life and just like, I got to do this.
Yeah, exactly. I've been fly fishing 25 years now, something like that. And when I worked in the mental health field, especially with the adults, it was all community based. So I'd drive out, meet people in their homes, make sure they're getting all of the services and counseling and everything that they needed. But every once in a while, actually pretty frequently, they wouldn't be home or I couldn't get a hold of them.
Yeah.
In which case, I would go to the Reno Fly Shop and just hang out. And doing that over the course of probably about a year and a half, I decided that I was going to start my own guiding company. And Jim, who owns the Reno Fly Shop, encouraged me to come guide with him. And I was like, that sounds perfect to me. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And then you were able to leave behind this regular job, I'm assuming with a nice paycheck, and just jump into guiding, huh?
Yeah. And actually, everything kind of fell into place. The position that I was at with the mental health work, the position was let go, basically. My position was no longer needed. And I had already started transitioning to the shop. And so when that position was terminated, I had a perfect chance to just jump right on in.
It's amazing how things work out,
It is.
right?
You just got to stay open to everything. You
Right.
never know where you're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. The ways our careers go, right? So, okay, well, that's really cool. All right, so I want to go back to Nevada. So the other thing you hear about Nevada is wild horses. Are there wild horses all over the place in Nevada? Do you see them all the time?
Yeah, we see them all the time, especially out to Pyramid Lake. They have the wild horse roundup where they round up wild horses because they can be pretty damaging to the terrain, especially for our other big game. So yeah, there's a roundup there, but you can be pretty much anywhere east of Reno. So you're heading out towards Lockwood, Mustang, Patrick, all those places. And you're probably going to see a few, if not run into a few on the river. And they're very mean. They're not very nice. They're not like horses
Really?
you've probably seen, at someone's house. They're incredibly aggressive. So we give them their space and kind of just fish around them as much as we can.
What's an aggressive wild horse do?
So just a quick story. I had two clients out towards Mustang, and there was one spot to access the river where the riverbank kind of folds in and we can get to the water there. And we fished for about 45 minutes in this pool, turn around, and there's 8 to 10 horses right where that little ravine is. And there's really no way to get back up. So we kind of start making our way, making noise, trying to hope, they'll skitter off. And one of the horses just stood his ground, started stomping his hooves, wouldn't let us near that. And so we went back to that same hole and fished it for another 45 minutes until they finally took off. But, you're not going to mess around with 1,000 pounds of angry horse back there. So
Right. And when they round them up, what do they do with them?
they try and adopt them as much as they can.
Oh, so people will wrangle those guys and someone will end up riding that thing eventually?
Yeah, so the Mustang program, they try to adopt out as many as they can. I don't know too much about it, but that's the goal, is to adopt out as many as possible. And they're great workhorses, right? Mustangs are pretty robust, so they're great for working.
Have you talked to guys that break those horses? What's that like?
I have not talked to
Okay,
anybody.
you don't know anybody who does that?
No,
Okay. You were a rodeo guy in a previous life?
no, not at all. I don't like,
Okay.
actually, I'm not a big fan of horses.
Is
So
that, I guess not. They're blocking your way out, in and out of rivers. I can see
I stay
why.
away as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, how's the spring fishing going?
Good. Yeah. Runoff peaked right around Mother's Day. So I think it was
Okay.
about May 15th. So we're on the way down as far as flows go. We're sitting at about 760 CFS through the downtown Reno gauge. That's good. I like anything below 800. Anything
Yeah.
above 800 is just so much more water to cover. The fish have so much more room to hide. So once we start getting below that, we start getting into a lot easier to target the fish on the Truckee.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. How was snowpack?
Good, 100% right on the dot. So
Yeah.
nice and average.
Okay. So, all right. Why should anglers make the trip out into Nevada and to Reno? What's the headline on Nevada? We kind of talked a little bit about it, I guess, but what do you think?
Big fish out west. I mean, that's really what it is. There's fish on the Truckee pushing 28, 30 inches. They're not easy to
Wow.
get. It's a technical river, as you alluded to earlier, but there's a lot of really good quality fish. And the nice thing, too, is the fishing, in my opinion, the best fishing is within a mile of downtown Reno.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's
Some of
an
my,
urban fishery. It's
oh,
an
yeah.
urban fishery.
For
Huh.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. Our shop is probably 300 yards from the river, and we've caught some of the biggest fish just right where we can turn around and see the shop still. So
Huh.
right in the middle of Reno. We typically will go a little bit more upriver just because it does get crowded down there. There's a lot of people swimming and
Okay.
utilizing the river in other ways. But there's a park probably every mile or so. It all has good access. And like I said, it's not a numbers fishery, it's a quality fishery. So
Okay.
that's what we're looking for when we're fishing the Truckee.
Yeah. Well, like, when you say quality, what's a typical day? I know it's a hard question to answer, but average angler, average day, how well can you do?
Sure. So on an average day, average angler, we're looking at anywhere between 6 to 10 fish, and then we're hoping for anything 20 plus, 20 inches
Oh,
plus. That's the goal, and it's definitely achievable on most days to get a fish
wow.
over 20 inches.
Really? So, are you seeing 20 inches every week?
Maybe not every week, but it usually comes in waves.
Yeah.
It typically follows the hatches and all of that. We'll get into a stretch where, every other day we'll find a fish that's 18 to 20 plus.
Ooh.
And then we'll get a little dry spell for a couple weeks. And then we'll start seeing those 18, 20, 24s again pretty regularly. It just seems to go in waves more than like consistently like one a week.
Okay. Interesting. It sounds like you gotta work for them.
Yes. Yeah. It's technical. It's
Yeah.
definitely a technical river.
So, say more about technical river. Like, what makes it technical?
So for one, the elevation drop from Tahoe, which is where the Truckee originates, all the way out to Pyramid Lake is 2,000 plus feet. The river is right around 120 miles as the river flows, about 80 as the crow flies. So you have a lot of drop over a pretty short span. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of spots where the water will be moving pretty quick and can be 5, 6 plus 8 feet, 10 feet deep.
Oh.
And that's sometimes what makes it difficult. The other thing too is just being able to read the water is critical for the Truckee. A lot of our big fish like to sit in shallow, fast moving water where there's a deeper drop nearby. I'm sure people on your podcast have talked about that before, but our fish, really the big ones, like that shallow moving water where they can hide if they need to. And it's water that I would say 80% of anglers walk right over because
Really?
they think it's too fast, it's too shallow, but it's typically where we find the largest fish is in shallow, fast moving water.
Shallow, fat, but something deep nearby.
Correct. Yeah, you have to have a place for them to hide nearby.
Okay. And so, which kind of your take on how often they're coming out of the deep water to feed? Do they sit there all morning long, or are they kind of in and out in an hour? What do you think?
I think they probably sit there pretty consistently throughout the day, unless they are, if they get harassed or something like that. And that's obviously something that'll push them through. One thing I've noticed too on the Truckee too, that if bugs are present, the fish are eating. So, even though our fish really don't eat dries that often on the Truckee,
Yeah.
If there are bugs on the water, the fish under the water are eating.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And so if that's happening, the fish are pretty shallow. And the other reason they like that shallow water too is the amount of crayfish in the Truckee River.
Crayfish.
Tons of crayfish. Tons and
Really?
tons.
How big?
They can get pretty big. I mean,
Like size of my hand, or?
probably like middle finger, maybe a little bigger.
Okay, and a trout will eat that, huh?
Well, they like the juveniles. They like the ones that are like half your pinky.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
size 8, size maybe up to about a 6 is the patterns we use.
I first came across liquid fly dip floatants years ago when guides were mixing their own brews with lighter fluid and mucilin wax. You know, it worked, but you had to wonder, what's it doing to the river? Recently, I tried some store-bought brands. One left a white crust on my fly, another left an oil slick in the water. Not good. No way I'm using that stuff. Then I found High and Dry, and let me tell you, this stuff is a game changer. It's built by scientists who actually fly fish, and it shows. Your fly floats like a cork, looks natural, and it's 100% environmentally friendly. No film, no gunk, no gilt. And their floatants work in any condition, from blazing heat to freezing cold. In my opinion, these are the best performing, most innovative floatants on the market today, hands down. Check out the full lineup of liquid floatants, desiccants, and gels at highanddryfishingproducts.com. Your fly and the fish will thank you. Here's Brian Oakland, founder of Got Fishing.
There's really no reason for an angler not to use Got Fishing when everything we do for you is free. We have the best trips around the world. We only work with the best outfitters, and we're definitely going to get you the best deal and the best dates guaranteed. That's why we have clients come back time and time again. We have Don with us on this trip. This has been his 6th fishing adventure with Got Fishing, and I think if you asked him, it is because of all the little things. We don't tell people, we ask questions. What is it that you're looking for? What would be most important to you? Who's coming with you? What's your experience level? And really at the end of the day, what is the most important aspect of this experience that you're looking to take home? And then from there, we just marry them up with some of the best lodges, let them take a look at 2 or 3 different options and pick what's going to be best for them.
Well, there you have it, folks. A pretty good case for choosing Got Fishing for your next big adventure. So what are you waiting for? Give Brian a shout or visit gotfishing.com.
How do you fish I know how to fish a crayfish for a smallmouth, but tell me, how do you fish a crayfish pattern for a trout?
Yeah, so they'll dead drift under an indicator is a great way. Typically what I like to do is let my fly dead drift, and then that swing, that initial kick off the bottom when that fly is swinging, is definitely a point to where the trout will grab it. And then we do a lot of Euro nymphing on the Truckee, because one of the goals in fly fishing in general, but specifically for the Truckee, is your fly has to be near the bottom. Okay. If you're not losing flies, ticking bottom, you're not fishing the Truckee well.
Yeah.
And so with the Euro rod, cast it up, get that fly down, and then we'll just vertically jig and just kind of bump that fly off the bottom. A lot of times too, with like even a pause to where that fly sits on the bottom, bump it up, let it sit again, bump it up, let it sit again. And that motion just triggers a lot of those fish if they're looking for those juvenile crayfish.
So you're doing that with a crayfish pattern then. You're
all of my streamers too. So I fish a lot of just about 2-inch, pretty heavily weighted marabou with some chenille body, and just that same movement, just that jig up and down.
Yeah,
be super effective.
So you want to slow that fly down. If it's a streamer or a crayfish, it's not just drifting with the current, right? So are you trying to slow it down a little bit?
Well, that's part of it. It's more just that motion off of the bottom. The Truckee River has a lot of sculpin too, and sculpin obviously live tucked up into the rocks, and then they move and then settle back down into the rocks. So it's more that motion of in the rocks, off the rocks, in the rocks, off the rocks that really gets the fish moving.
So many fish how many flies are you losing in a morning?
On a bad day, probably a dozen.
Really? Is that right? That's a bad day, man.
Yeah.
I think I get tired of tying on flies after that. I don't know.
It's pretty, the Truckee's pretty rocky too. It is technically a tailwater because Tahoe is dammed, but
it is.
Before Tahoe is dammed, it's a freestone. So it's boulders, rocks, pocket water, like you said earlier. So yeah, you can lose some flies for sure.
A dozen flies in the morning.
That's a bad day. That
is a bad day. Yeah.
Typically we'll lose 3 to 4 throughout the day.
But if I'm going with you, you're tying all the flies on for me.
Yeah, exactly. Nice and easy.
Can you like tie flies on without even looking? Can you be like kind of looking around at the scenery and tying something on, and one of those guys that can, in 10 seconds have a new fly in?
Yeah, it doesn't take long. It's
Yeah.
pretty close to blindfolded.
Is that right? Yeah. I'm not quite there yet. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. I don't know about you. You're a little younger than me, but they
Yeah.
start going. I gotta work
38.
harder.
There's days where I gotta.
Oh
reach
yeah?
at it.
Okay. All right. Somebody gave me a pair of cheaters when I turned 40. I thought, oh, this is funny. You're a funny guy. And like 6 months later, I'm going, I can't read this anymore.
Yeah. Well, I got 2 more years then, so I'll go grab a set.
It's kind of like gray hair, though. You never know, like, when you're going to get gray hair and how gray you're going to be and how fast,
Exactly.
So it's a tailwater, but isn't it like the dam is like 100 miles away from you guys, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where technically a tailwater, but because it does come out of a dam, there's also 7 upstream reservoirs to the Truckee River.
Oh.
Those are all dammed. We do have some natural creeks and stuff that inflow, but because it is dammed, it's fishes like a freestone. And it looks like a freestone.
Okay. And so the reservoirs are off to the side, and they've got a chute that goes into the Truckee.
Yeah, and so Tahoe supplies the main flow for the Truckee River, typically about 70 to 80% throughout the year, and then the other 7 upstream reservoirs are just bonus, kind of extra, just in case. I mean, out west, droughts happen pretty often, so they try and get as much storage as they can up there.
So I read that Nevada is the driest state in the union.
I don't doubt it.
Congratulations, with average of 10 inches of rain a year. I'm not sure what that means. I think we get more in Indiana. Yeah. But so with all these reservoirs and Lake Tahoe, do you have cold water all summer long, or you have some heat problems later in the summer?
It can get pretty warm. So typically by the end of July into August, what we do is just move our base of guiding from Nevada up into California. Tahoe 2 is only dammed 6 feet, and it's a top dump dam.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, so Tahoe itself is over 1,600 feet deep, but what they have as storage is only 6 feet, and the water comes off the top, so it can get pretty warm. But that's where the other reservoirs, as they feed in through like Prosser Creek, the Little Truckee, those are all bottom dump, so they're 55 degrees year round.
Sweet.
And so by the time though that water reaches us from, say, like the Little Truckee, it can get up to 70 degrees by midday on the really hot summers.
What's causing them to release more water? Is it ag, or is it just managing the depth of the reservoirs?
So the Truckee River is interesting because it is under what's called the Truckee River Water Agreement. It's called TROA. And TROA has to supply a certain amount of water through the Truckee River at certain times if there's storage. So a lot of the times, like through the summer, they have to maintain, I believe it's 480 CFS through FARAD, which is in between us and Truckee. Okay. And if there's water, they have to maintain that. And if there's not water, obviously they don't maintain it. So
yeah, that's pretty good setup. Because you're telling me you're guiding 180, 200 days a year, aren't you?
That's the goal. Yeah, 180, 200 days. Yeah, that's the goal for sure.
That's busy. That's super busy. How many guys you guys got at the Reno Fly Shop?
We have 2 full-time and then 3 part-time as well. Okay. So 5 total.
Keeping you guys busy then.
Oh, yeah.
So the other thing I read about Reno is it used to be known as the divorce capital of the world. You ever heard about that?
Good old Reno. Yeah. Keep it classy, Reno, for sure. So I guess the thing to do is to go to Reno, get your marriage divorced or annulled, and then you would kiss the courthouse and then walk down to the Truckee and then throw your ring in the river. So because the river's got to be less than a block, maybe 2 blocks away from the courthouse.
But you had to like be a Nevada native for X number of weeks or something. So I was reading there are like people wandering around town for weeks on end. Like, I got to be here for 6 weeks until I can get my divorce.
Yeah, I didn't know that part, but I do know that. Yeah, it's the divorce capital of the world for sure.
Jack Dempsey, General Douglas MacArthur, Nelson Rockefeller, and Gloria Vanderbilt all got divorced in Reno.
You did your research. I'm
I
impressed.
did. I started reading. I start reading things. I just go down these rabbit holes and go, "This is kind of interesting." But we're talking back in the 1930s now. I imagine the vibe is a little different today than it was
Yeah.
back then.
I would assume so. Hopefully,
Just a little different, huh? All right. So give us we're kind of talking about the lay of the land here with the Truckee. So it starts on Lake Tahoe, and it comes out the western side of Lake Tahoe, right? And then flows north and does a lot of zigzagging. Give us the lay of the land there.
Yeah, it comes out the northwest side of Tahoe, right out of Tahoe City there, and then goes down the 89 corridor to Truckee, and then from Truckee it flows down into what we call the canyon, and then from the canyon it goes into Reno, and then from Reno it goes into out east, which is eventually what heads out to Pyramid. One thing that we do, or we like to talk about, there's basically 3 to 4 sections of the Truckee River. They fish similarly, but they have enough differences to where it's notable. But that section from Tahoe to probably right around where the Little Truckee comes in, that's just upstream from a town called Hurstdale. That's usually skinnier water, still pretty pockety, but nowhere near as deep, nowhere near as flat for the most part. There's spots, obviously, that do get pretty deep, but it's a little more contained, a little smaller water. And then as we move down into the canyon, and that's from Hurstdale till about Verdi, and Verdi is in Nevada, so you cross the state line at that point. That is a lot of altitude change, a lot of deep plunge pools, faster water, pocket water.
Yeah, cool.
And then once you get into Reno, you exit the canyon, and there's still a decent amount of elevation change, but the water starts to calm down a bit, and we still get plenty of pocket water, still plenty of deep pools, but it's a little more manageable from Reno. And then out east really slows down. There's not a lot of elevation change out there. Typically, the water gets pretty hot out there.
Okay.
It's definitely, of the sections of the Truckee, has the lowest fish per mile.
Yeah.
But still has huge fish in it. But it starts to turn more into a warm water fishery, especially once you kind of get past USA Parkway to Derby Dam. Past Derby Dam, you have basically a few miles until you're on the Paiute Reservation. So
yeah, that's where Pyramid Lake is.
Yeah, so the Paiute Reservation is huge, and they have a long stretch of the Truckee, and then Pyramid Lake obviously is a very large lake.
Yeah, huge.
Hey anglers, if you're on the hunt for fishing gear that's as tough as you are, look no further than Adams Built Fishing Gear. Since 2014, Adams Built has been the go-to choice for anglers who demand quality without breaking the bank. Their lineup of lightweight waders, high-quality nets, and meticulously designed fly boxes is second to none. But here's what really impressed me. Adams Built stands behind their products like no other. Every single item is guaranteed to last. Yep, you heard that right. And get this, Adams Built waders even come with a lifetime repair replace guarantee, with you only paying for shipping. Now that's a deal you can't beat. So why settle for gear that won't last? Make the smart choice and gear up with Adams Built Fishing Gear today. Ask your local dealer for Adams Built or visit www.adamsbuiltfishing.com and tell them Steve sent you from the Destination Angler podcast.
So tell us about Pyramid Lake. I know maybe we'll do a show on that later, but I'd love to just get kind of the top of the mountain here.
Yeah.
It's a story on Pyramid Lake. Pretty amazing place, I hear.
Yeah, I mean, largest cutthroat in the world. From my fishing experience, especially for, say, the United States, you really don't have a better shot to catch a fish over 10 pounds than you do at Pyramid Lake.
Yeah.
There's definitely fish that, if you start fishing for lake trout or some of the Great Lakes big browns, they might hit 30 plus pounds. But it's very common, I would say, not every trip, but almost every trip, where we at least get a 10-pound or very close to it trout.
Wow.
And then pushing the upper limits, I had a good buddy land a 27-pounder this year. I had a client land a right around 24-pound trout this year.
Holy smokes. What's a 24-pound trout fight like in Pyramid Lake?
They're an interesting fight. So this is where I believe all fish are individuals. because you have some of those big fish where they scream you to your backing, you never see them, you never turn them, and they just pop you off. And then you have some of them that are just so heavy and so weighted down that all they can do is just flop right off of the drop off into the deep water. And the hard part is, a lot of the times we're fishing anywhere from 15 to 8 pound test tippet. And so if the fish weighs 20 plus, there's not really a ton that you can do to really move that fish unless they want to really come in, or, you finally tire them out a little bit. So
maybe that's a good strategy if you're a fish. Just be fat, dumb, and lay there.
Well, it's funny too. So a lot of the times too, we hook fish right up next to us. So like if we're using a sinking line and retrieving flies, I would say probably 40 to 50% of our bites happen within your last strip before you pick up to cast.
Why is that?
They just follow your fly all the way in.
Okay.
And then I think that little bit of a lift as you go to recast just triggers. Right? And then when we're indicator fishing, a lot of times what we're looking for are just very steep drop-offs. And I'm talking like you could be calf deep, and if you took 3 more steps out, you're in 15 feet of water, just immediate straight down.
Okay.
And so we're hooking them in technically, shallow water, as in close to shore, but it's not shallow as far as the depth goes.
Yeah.
So they're just sit off that drop-off.
Is Pyramid a natural lake?
It is, yeah. So it's one of the last remaining natural lakes from what was Lake Lahontan, hence the name of the trout.
Yeah, Lahontan Trout.
Covered all of northern Nevada, and Pyramid was the deepest spot, so that's why it's still around.
And what's the story on these Lahontan Trout? Weren't they thought they were extinct, and then somebody found them somewhere?
Yeah, so the lake was commercially fished, conceivably forever. The Paiutes probably, I don't know if they commercially fished it, but they obviously fished it because it's a good food source. But it was commercially fished for a very long time. Derby Dam is also a big part of that story. That went in 1903, I believe. And Derby Dam is used to divert water from the Truckee River out to Fallon and Fernley for farming alfalfa, basically.
Okay.
And it dropped the lake level 80 feet when they first put it in. So they were just taking a ton of water out. And what it naturally did, though, is it blocked our LCT, our cutthroat, from their natural spawning grounds. Which were typically actually more like downtown Reno is the best kind of spawning area. So it blocked them from that. And then it was commercially fished so heavily that by I think it was about the 40s or the 50s, maybe a little earlier, they had completely decimated the trout population. There were,
really,
as far as anybody could tell, there were 0 trout left in the lake. And then in the 1970s, a biologist by the name of Robert Banke, he was doing cutthroat surveys in Utah, but pretty close to the border on what's called Pilot Peak. And he found a cutthroat there that didn't kind of match the bill of what should have been there, he felt. And so at that point, the Federal Fish and Wildlife Service got involved, started a hatchery, started kind of propagating those fish. And then in the 1990s, a lady by the name of Mary Peacock, she was able to genetically test the fish that Robert Banke found to the all-time record that was caught out at Pyramid Lake, the 41 pounds, is at the Nevada State Museum in Carson City.
Yeah.
They are able to DNA test from the otolith bone. And I don't know an exact number, but Mary Peacock was quoted saying, "We found them."
Yeah.
So they started stocking those in 2007. So
2006, this is a really new phenomenon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an emerging fishery for sure.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to continue, or are we going to see like this peak of these gigantic fish and then a crash? What are the biologists saying about it?
I think it's too young to know. I'll tell you anecdotally, and this is completely anecdotally for all your listeners. I've noticed that the numbers of fish that we're catching is slightly down than in the previous years, but the fish are larger in average. So when I started guiding the lake in, what was that, 17 probably, maybe 16? Might have been 16. Catching a 10-pound trout was still not rare, but it was something very noteworthy, and it still is. Let me preface that 10-pound trout is still very noteworthy, but it would happen maybe once a week, maybe a little more frequently than that. A 15 pounder, is something that, really got us all just crazy excited. But now, like I said, it's not uncommon, even on a single day, to catch 4 or 5 fish over 10 pounds.
Wow.
One of them will be 15.
Really?
Yeah,
Jeez.
on a good day, that's not uncommon.
Wow. Okay. And so it's a strange season. You fish these guys in the wintertime, don't you?
Correct. So the best time to fish them, I believe, is roughly the last week of October to probably early May.
Why is that?
Well, partially because the lake it's so hot in the summer, and that's why they close fishing on June 30th. They don't want anybody pulling the fish up from 120 feet.
Oh, they go way down.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Like
Yeah.
a lake trout.
So they are considered a lacustrine trout. So they do get very deep. They have the ability to control their air bladder much more than most trout. So yeah, in the winter is when they're at their shallowest.
Yeah. Okay.
So typically, like early December, they'll be anywhere from 15 to 20 feet deep. By the time we hit December, January, they're going to be about 10 feet deep. By the time we hit February, March, they're going to be about 6 feet.
Yeah.
And then they typically will go into their spawn around mid-April. And that's where we'll see 100 fish a day. They'll just be in 2 feet of water cruising up and down the shoreline
Really?
each other.
Well, how long does the spawn last?
About 2 weeks. It kind of
Okay.
ramps up and ramps down. But I would say like the main mass where a lot of the fish are actively spawning is about 2 weeks.
Okay. What are the food sources? What are they eating to get so big?
So the main thing's the tui chub. So the tui chub is the bait fish that is native to the lake, native to our area. And in the early season, October, when the lake opens, we'll have bait balls that are, a quarter of a football field, just
What?
massive bait balls.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you'll see fish cutting through them. You'll see the bait, just like in the ocean. You'll see
Really?
bait flipping up into the air. The fish won't stay shallow for very long, though, that time of year, just because the water's so warm.
Huh.
Yeah, so the tui chubs start to disappear because they're a warmer water species. So they'll start to disappear kind of mid-December-ish. We definitely won't see bait balls that time of year, but we won't start seeing them on sonar. And then the lake gets pretty sterile. There's not a lot of food sources for the trout, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Can be a good thing because they're hungry. So you just put something off the drop off and they're probably going to take it. Or it could be a bad thing in that if there's not enough life to stimulate the fish, they don't really get active enough. And then typically around January into February, we start to get midge hatches. And so the fish will really turn on to the midges. And then again, by about April, end of April into May, the tui chub will start coming back.
You ever throwing eggs patterns at them?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, if they're spawning, you probably want to throw some eggs.
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah.
For sure.
Any estimates of the number of these Lahontan trout that are in, because it's a big lake? Is it like 1 million fish? What are they saying?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I have no idea. It is still a stocked fishery because of the inability of the trout to get above a lot of dams that are on the river.
Okay.
There are ladders on most of these dams, if not all of them by now, but it'll take a few years for the fish to kind of figure that out. One thing that the Federal Fish and Wildlife will do is that they do take some of these fish, put them in a truck, and then drive them above certain dams
Cool.
to give them access to that river to spawn up there and then eventually make their way back. Hopefully just trying to get them to figure it out, how to go up and down. But yeah, numbers, I couldn't tell you.
A lot, sounds like.
A decent amount.
Yeah. And so you guys are fishing from ladders a lot of the time?
So ladders, yeah, I got a little heat when I started guiding out there because I'm not a huge fan of the ladders. There's certain places you need a ladder, 100%. But a lot of the times the drop-offs are so steep at Pyramid Lake that you don't really need them. And a lot of the times if you're using them, you could be spotlighting the fish. If you're on a ladder, you're 10 foot tall. Yeah. The fish see you from further out. But there are a lot of beaches that are very shallow for a very long way that those are spots that you need a ladder. where if I
Okay.
can walk out 200 yards and the water's to the top of my waders, and then the drop off, which is what I'm trying to fish, is another 30 feet out, I'm not going to stand there taking waves and trying to cast with water up that high. So that's where the
Right.
ladder comes in. And it's warmer, gets you out of that water, which in the winter can hit about 42 degrees. So
Yeah. What are your tips for winter fishing? Keeping warm.
I use boot foot waders. So
What kind?
yeah, with a molded rubber boot,
Rubber boot. Okay.
like duck waders, basically.
Okay.
So neoprene duck waders. I use the Orvis Pro zip front waders that have a molded boot,
Huh.
and that's huge because realistically, what makes you the coldest is the contact of your foot in the water with a neoprene booty.
Ah.
So if you separate that with just a molded rubber boot, it helps a lot.
Does it really? Okay. What about your hands and rod guides? What are you doing there?
So rod guides, the lake is salty, about a third as salty as the ocean.
Ah.
So if we do start to get salt, you just dip it in the water. It melts it very quickly. You're good to go. Hands, we use 9mm nitrile gloves, the black nitrile mechanics gloves. That's a game changer out there.
Huh.
Yeah.
No kidding. I bought a pair of scuba diving gloves and I haven't really tried them yet. Just tough it out.
I see, like the neoprene gloves for me, I get colder with them on my hands. Where the nitrile gloves, and if it's really cold, I'll put a set of wool mittens over the top. But just the black mechanics 9mm nitrile gloves do a really good job at keeping you warm.
No kidding. There's a tip. All right, cool.
Boom.
Well, all right. I had to ask you about Pyramid Lake because that's just such a fantastic place. What are some of the other rivers you guys are fishing in the area?
Yeah, so we have access to quite a few now. Last year, we got our Toyabe National Forest permit, so we can guide the East Walker on the Nevada side only. And that's my favorite river. That's
really,
yeah. It's only about 2 hours south of Reno, so it's a little bit of a haul, but it is my favorite river by far in the area.
Why is that?
Well, it's again big fish out west, so there's a lot of big browns on the East Walker. Really good numbers, pretty easy wading. It's definitely a spot that you can get around a lot easier. And then they like hoppers. Hopper dropper is the way to go out there. They'll eat that almost all year. Obviously, in the winter, they probably stay away from it.
Yeah.
But I caught more fish on hoppers in April than I did on nymphs. I just had a trip out to the East Walker today. We caught more fish on the hopper than on the nymph. So
throwing hoppers, and it's June 3rd. You're throwing hoppers. They're already out, huh?
They love them.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a great hopper fishery, great nymphing fishery, great streamer fishery. The fish really like streamers in there. They're just very active fish. It's not, I would say, like easy, right? And there's no fishing that's easy, I would say. But I think for most rivers, it is a very approachable, just nice, pretty.
Yeah, I've been on it.
By snow-capped mountains. It's beautiful.
I fished it in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. I also hit Pleasant Valley when I was out there. You used to be able to get on there. You went to a biker. Rattlesnakes?
At Pleasant Valley, yeah.
But a customer tell me, you go to this biker bar, you talk to the guy behind the counter, his name's Bob, and tell him you know me. He'll charge you $50. He gives you the key to the gate, and you go up there and just had an amazing day. Browns and rainbows all day long.
It's a great spot.
Yeah, yeah. So the East Walker. Yep.
And then we also got our Plumas National Forest permit, which allows us to guide Middle Fork of the Feather. And that's another great fishery. We can get some pretty good size fish on there. A 20-inch fish is probably pushing the limit up there. I would say 18 is very large on that river. But very good dry fly fishing, especially like right now, the caddis hatches are pretty incredible. So that river also easy wading, great dry fly fishing, great nymphing, some streamer fishing. I wouldn't say I'd qualify it as a streamer fishing river, but definitely caught fish on that.
Yeah.
But that's a spring fishery. So typically we start fishing that, weather permitting, March till about the first to second week of June. And after that, it starts to get a little low.
A little low and warm, maybe?
Yeah, it's at the headwaters of of the Feather River.
Okay.
So it's all natural snow melt. So once the snow is gone, the river can get pretty low.
Nice. Cool. How's public access in all these rivers?
Good. Yeah. So the Middle Fork of the Feathers in California, but there's a lot of spots that you can pull over that are public access. The East Walker is on the Nevada side, so it's all open. The East Walker though is a little more like in a canyon. It opens up into a meadow, goes into a little canyon, and so typically you're not going to be driving from spot to spot. You're going to pick a section, fish it all the way through, get back in your car, hop to the next section. So access is still good, but it's not like fish get in your car, go, fish get in your car. You're going to cover water.
Yeah, cool.
And then we also have access to the Little Truckee, which is another great close fishery in California. It can get a little busy, but great dry fly fishing, nymphs, streamers. Certain times of the year, there are some big fish in there too. So,
are they moving up from a reservoir on the Little Truckee?
So we're fishing the Little Truckee in between Stampede and Boca Reservoir, and so the fish will move out of Boca to spawn. I've even actually caught a Mackinaw all the way at the very top of the Little Truckee River. It wasn't big. It was, I don't know, maybe 16 inches, but
that's cool.
Yeah, I hooked a black trout and I was like, what is this? Kind of put two and two together. So
something rare. That's great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, so what's your personal best on the Truckee?
My personal best on the Truckee is probably around a 26-inch brown.
Holy smokes. Yeah.
And then my best with the client is about a 27-inch brown. That was a female, nice and fat.
Okay.
And then my PB brown or PB trout in our area, except for Pyramid, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But my personal best trout was out of the East Walker. That was 28-inch brown.
Really? What were you doing when you caught him?
Just Euro nymph and a Perdigon.
Really?
Nice little deep spot, and he wanted it. To be fair, I thought I had foul hooked a carp because I had just seen a carp upriver a little bit.
Yeah.
And my buddy and I had been just trumping this spot. His dog was in and out of the water. Really wasn't thinking much about it.
Yeah.
And he had gotten a new rod. I was like, let me try it. 2 drifts in, hook this thing. It goes around a corner. I'm chasing it. It goes around the next. So I put a lot of pressure trying to stop it. And I told my buddy, I was like, I foul hooked a carp. There's no way that's a trout. And then I see this brown trout head flip over.
Wow. Really?
Lost my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Scream a little bit.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it.
That's great. Your buddy netted for you?
He did not. He had my net, and I had ran up river. So he tried to throw it at me, and it fell in the river. So he had to go back down and get it.
What?
And then he finally threw it at me, and I got it. So no, I had to land it myself too.
Nice job. That's hard to do. Good for you. Well, walk us through what are the major hatches? I think you said that the Truckee's not a super great dry fly fishery, but that they'll start feeding if there's bugs present. Walk us through that. Yeah.
So right now is actually our best shot for dry flies on the Truckee River. We have which I'm sure most rivers on the western side of the Rockies have too, but we have the little yellow Sally stonefly, which is a very prolific hatch on the Truckee River. They're about a size 12 stonefly, and they kind of coincide with our caddis hatch. And I just started seeing Sally's 2 days ago, so It's about that time. First light, last hour, we can get some pretty good dry fly fishing for maybe 2-3 weeks on the Truckee. But those green drakes too, we'll get a really short green drake season. Usually lasts about a week, maybe 2. And that should be any time now as well.
Fun.
And then we start to transition after that into PMDs, pale morning duns, mayflies.
Yeah.
I like to fish those in about 18 or 16. And that's typically too right around when our crayfish get really active.
Yeah.
Once the water temps kind of consistently are hitting 60 degrees, our crayfish are active. So it's not uncommon to do, a patch rubber leg and then, like a size 16 pheasant tail or some other kind of mayfly imitation pretty much all throughout the summer. That can be a pretty deadly combo.
And the patch rubber legs looks like a crayfish?
It can, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll also start getting golden stones probably mid to end of June. That'll last through most of July, and then August the bug life gets a little scarce just because we get so warm. We started getting like tricos and midges that time of year,
Okay. Yeah.
so we start fishing small, or like I said, really early in the morning to keep those fish nice and healthy.
Nice.
And then September, October, we get a little resurgence of some caddis, PMDs again. The crayfish will typically molt in August into September, so they're always a good prey item that time of year.
Yeah.
When they're soft.
Yeah. Right.
And then we get into midges and blue wings once we start getting into December, January.
Okay.
So
yeah, very good. What are your top, I don't know, 3 to 5 patterns that you'd recommend?
yeah, so if you go to renoflyshop.com, you got to get the carrot. That's
The carrot.
the carrot. It's my go-to, just searching nymph. If I don't know if there's trout in a river, or if I haven't done my homework on a new river, I'm throwing a carrot.
A carrot. What's a carrot look like?
So it's basically a Euro nymphing fly, kind of a hare's ear with an orange rib, with a black and peacock eye stub collar. Pretty simple, but man, that fly catches more fish for me than anything.
The carrot fly. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, it was actually created by Mike Sexton, who was a guide for us, 10 years ago now.
Huh. No, I've never heard of that.
Mm-hmm. You might see it as like the carotene. That's what he originally had named it, but we all just shortened it to the carrot.
The carrot. Okay. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
That's a great fly. I fish perdigones in about every size and color you can imagine. I like how they sink. I like their profile. So I fish a lot of perdigones.
What colors?
So really like a brown body with like a burnt orange rib, especially for our PMDs. That's a great color. And then I'll do olive with a chartreuse rib for Betis, or just kind of your general searching pattern. Purple can be pretty good, just purple flash with a silver wire. Just, kind of just whatever feels right that day.
Nothing too flashy though, huh?
So I think on the Truckee, the fish like a pop of color more than a flash.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure you ask somebody else, they'll say something different, but I am very confident on a pop of color instead of flash, for sure.
I got you. Pink?
Chartreuse and orange.
Okay.
Like a fluorescent orange.
It probably varies by hole, but are you throwing, big beads like 3.2s, 2.8s? How big are beads?
Yeah, it depends more on the size of the fly. The fly that I'm imitating.
Yeah.
Even though I Euro nymph, I don't follow the competition rules. I'll drop shot. I'll add split shot below my 2 flies.
Really?
Just to really force those flies deep. Yeah, I don't mind adding split shot to get my flies down. So the size of the bead doesn't matter too much.
Okay, interesting.
But I would say most of them are 2.833 somewhere.
Okay, good size beads then. Okay.
And then TJ hooker for my crayfish pattern.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What are the stream access laws in Nevada?
Most of the Truckee River's on public lands. So park and head on down. Anything that has private land near it is high water mark.
Okay.
But it's pretty rare. California is a little different. There are 2 sections of the California side of the Truckee. I'm sorry, one that is like you have to keep your boots wet the whole time. There's giant signs. I would just I wouldn't touch it.
Don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the Nevada side, it's I can't think of a section. There's not a section that's like fully private. But as long as you access legally and stay within high water, you're good to go.
Yeah. What's the wildest thing you've seen in all your years of fly fishing and guiding out there?
Wildest thing.
The wildest thing.
Oh man. Put me on the spot.
Come on, man.
I would say that big brown that we caught with my client, that 27, 28 inch, she was very tall, very thick, very big shoulders. We caught her in a spot, like I said, it was shallow, fast moving water,
Yeah.
and about 20 yards below her there was a deep hole. And my client hooked it, and I had told him earlier, he was a great angler too. I told him earlier, I was like, if you feel like you hooked the bottom, just hold on to it. Don't move. Don't think it's a stick and start trying to shake. Just hold it for give me 5 seconds. So that's what he did. He hooked onto something and he goes, "Oh, I think it's bottom." And this fish just started creeping downstream.
Yeah, I love that.
And I got the profile. I was like, "Good Lord, that's a big fish."
Yeah.
And it sunk into this deep hole, and we're on 5X tippet. She's huge. She's in a deep hole with flow. We just could not turn her. Couldn't, like, downstream, walked below her, tried to turn upstream. She couldn't turn her. So I ended up just walking in, filling my waders, and just taking the back of my net and just poking her in the butt.
Really?
So she would take off. And once we got her out of that deep hole, we were able to land her pretty quick. But yeah, I'll do anything for a big fish.
There you go. I hope you got a big tip too.
Yeah.
Fills your waders up. Man, that's a sacrifice right there.
Oh, it was so worth it. It was such a good fish.
That's awesome. I had a guy I interviewed once who said he goes in there and if the fish trying to run downstream, he'll get out there and stomp around.
Yeah.
But he's sure the fish hears it and turns around and heads back upstream.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. That's probably what I should have done instead of taking a little swim, but I didn't think of it in that moment.
How would you know? Yeah. So as a kid in growing up, you grew up in Reno, right?
Correct.
Like, what were you doing for fun as a kid? Were you fishing a lot, or what were you doing?
Yeah, we would fish a ton. My mom was a school teacher for 35 years, so she had, summers off. My dad worked as an accountant, so, we would take camping trips almost every weekend, go and do stuff. But yeah, fishing was definitely a big part, especially once I got a car. I turned 16, got my license. Yeah, I'd spend most afternoons down on the river doing something. I used to live on a section of the river called Mogul. I lived there for about 18 months. And I worked night shift during that time. That was when I was working with the juveniles. So I worked night shift. So I'd get off at 7 a.m. Perfect time to start fishing. So I spent a lot of time those 18 months around Mogul. Hunted a fair bit, mostly big game, a little bit of upland game, doves and chukar and stuff.
Okay.
Very outdoors.
Yeah, all the time. Who was your biggest influence as a kid?
Oh, it is my dad. Yeah, my dad was the reason that we started fly fishing. We started off, drowning worms like everybody else. And River Runs Through It came out.
Yeah.
In 98, 99, whenever that was. And I had a fly rod my next birthday.
Yeah.
And I'm not a purist. Like, I'll still use conventional tackle. But, fly is my preference. So we definitely made the transition right after that. And my dad was a dry fly purist. So the word nymph was anathema in our house.
Is that right?
Couldn't talk about it.
Oh, my gosh.
I had to secretly have my nymph box and go take it places.
What's this, son? In the trash.
It wasn't that bad, but yeah.
So he was John, and the river runs through it, right?
Yeah,
the dry fly fisherman. Yeah.
I used to go to, so the Reno Fly Shop's been around for well over 30 years with different owners. And I used to go into the fly shop when I was a kid, and my dad would be like, pick out whatever fly you want. We're going to fish it today. And, I'm 13. I would just go pick up and grab whatever looked good and.
And he made you fish that fly all day?
Yeah. Yep. I had to learn how to make it work or learn how to choose a better fly next time.
If it didn't fish well, he's like, too bad. You're fishing it all day?
If I made enough of an uproar, he would put something else on, put the right fly on. But yeah, that was fun.
What do you love about guiding?
Especially like, I'll break it up into two, because Pyramid Lake, I love it because people don't understand the size of a 10-pound trout. When these fish start reaching 30, 32, 34 inches, there's nothing like it, Yeah. Another quick story. One of my first trips that I was guiding out at Pyramid, I had a lady from Washington, D.C. who surf fished a lot, so for striper. So she was very aware of sharks, as you would if you're fishing the ocean. And we're fishing this beach. It's pretty shallow, and she's stripping in these flies, taking in the view. And I go, oh, we got one on it. And then this fish was following her fly, and she looks down, looks at this fish, screams, drops the rod in the water, and just starts chugging to get out of the water. And of course, I'm freaked out. Yeah. So, I go over there, grab my rod. You okay? You okay? She's, there's a shark in the water. It's like
in Pyramid Lake you're talking about.
Yeah. I was like,
well, that's a little salty.
That's about a 15-pound cutthroat right there. That
Did you land a fish?
No, she did not.
It was off, huh? So you've gotten into saltwater fishing, huh?
Yeah, I love saltwater fly fishing. Yeah, that's definitely my drug for sure.
Where do you go? Where do you like?
I've done the Bahamas quite a few times. I did Christmas Island in 2019.
Ooh.
We host a trip through the shop there.
Okay.
I haven't been able to go because I had a kid after that, but but that was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Fished in Florida, fished in Hawaii, so a lot of saltwater fly fishing.
I heard there's some good bone fishing in Hawaii.
Yeah, so I was on Maui, which is still a good island for bone fishing, but the best is Oahu is for bone fishing. But yeah, I saw plenty of fish on Maui.
Super cool.
I think the water tends to be a little deeper in Hawaii, and the bonefish, I don't know if you've ever fished them before, but they are incredibly hard to see. So that little bit of deeper water, by the time I saw the fish, they saw me, and it was game over. But
yeah, right. That's great.
Bonefish are the best.
Your favorite saltwater fish is what?
Bonefish, for sure.
Bonefish. Have you gone tarpon fishing?
Haven't done tarpon. When I was in Florida, it was the wrong time of year, and there was a hurricane about 200 miles offshore. So that was fun. It was an experience.
Yeah, right. Do you remember your first guide trip?
The first one I ever guided?
Very first one you ever guided. Yeah,
I do actually. Yeah.
How'd it go?
It was in the fall, and I had a younger couple just gotten married, and we went out east, and we had a good day. They were new anglers and I was a new guide. So that was a little difficult. My communication skills weren't there yet. And being able to teach them wasn't maybe quite on par at that time. But we caught fish. We had a good time.
Okay.
Time management was an issue. I definitely went really long over that trip. I was too excited to stop. So
yeah, I've had some guy. It's funny. I've had a couple of people I've been their first customer. Matter of fact, I was steelhead fishing with a guy, and it was 6 o'clock, and I had a 3-hour drive to get home. And he's like, "Hey, you guys want to keep fishing?" And I like almost never say no to that question, but it's like, no, we're going home, man. It's getting dark out. We're going home. And he said, "We keep fishing," And it was his first trip, and I gave him he did a nice job for his first trip, but I don't know. I found that some of the younger guys will stay out real late, and then they start to wise up after a while. I don't know.
Yeah. It's addictive. Kind of to finish answering your question, what I like about guiding, it's addictive, and not to toot my own horn, but I've caught plenty of fish on the Truckee. I've caught plenty of fish on the East Walker. I still enjoy it. I still fish on a lot of my days off, but there's something special about showing someone how to do it, putting them on it, especially on the Truckee. A lot of my trips are, hey, I've fished the Truckee for 2 years now and I haven't caught anything, help. So to be able to get that person to have that light switch flick and be able to really understand what they're doing, changing the variables as needed, that's super rewarding. And that's really the most fun about that.
For sure.
Is the teaching aspect.
Do you remember a time when you kind of embarrassed yourself out there as a guide, had kind of a bummer trip?
Gosh, I'll tell you, I've fallen in plenty of times in front of clients. The waiting out on the Truckee can be pretty rough sometimes. So I've definitely fallen in quite a few times. Definitely broken my client's rod on a demonstration cast.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, that was an interesting one. I offered to pay for the repair, obviously.
That's funny.
But no, all in all, I would say people in the fly fishing community are just good-natured people.
Yeah.
Who just want to experience the nature, just want to get outside. I think fly fishing is the ultimate in catharsis. It's just
Yeah.
over and over and over again. If you're thinking about something else, you're not going to fish the way that you need to.
Yeah.
So it's relaxing. It's soothing. It's good for your soul.
I agree with you. Do you think your background in mental health helps you with clients sometimes?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I can read people very quickly. I'm extremely patient from working with, male juveniles for about 3 years, and then the mentally ill for a few years after that. So my patience fuse is very long.
Good
and
for you.
That helps.
Yeah, I'll bet. I always wonder, do you think when you run into these kids that are having trouble, the juvenile delinquent kids, that you ever think, if I get this kid out on a trout stream, I can change his life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. A lot of the times too, that's one thing I loved working with the juveniles, and I liked working with adults too. But adults, they're set in their ways. They're they have a routine, they have a pattern, and it's hard to break that. But kids, they don't know any better.
Yeah.
They were taught a certain way, and whether that's right or wrong, that can come down to semantics. But realistically, being able to teach them, what's, call it morals or call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
You could see change. Right. And so being able to do something like that, I think could definitely make an impact on a kid's life.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure. What's next for you?
Oh man, I don't know. I think my son's getting old enough. I want to start hosting some trips, exploring a little bit. My wife gave me the go ahead. So
yeah,
that's another thing. And then just try and keep up with evolving fisheries. So a drought is going to hit eventually. It always does. We're probably a few years overdue. So, maybe try and figure out, some of our other still waters in the area. Carp. I love carp fishing because it's saltwater fly fishing that I don't have to pay, $2,000 to go travel to. So
right, exactly.
So yeah, warm water species, which we have a decent amount of up here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, just keep plugging along. I think too, one thing I've noticed with working with the Reno Fly Shop too is you always have to be moving forward. It's so easy to get stuck in a rut, to get stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
You got to be able to try something new, even if it fails. Try something new. Break out of that cycle of wake up, guide, come home, wake up, guide, come home.
Yeah.
Break into something new. So
right. So you're thinking about that, huh? Something different.
If you're not growing, you're dying. So
yeah, I agree.
You gotta be looking for the next thing.
Yeah. Mike, thanks for being on the show. Great job.
Yeah, thanks you for having me on.
Yeah, man. I got to ask you a question. With your favorite shore lunch?
Oh, Pyramid Lake, I do brats.
Brats? You cook brats for people?
I do. Yeah, as long as it's not too windy. I bring out a little Weber grill and cook up some brats. But on a cold day, there's nothing better than a nice warm brat.
Okay. So, that sounds great. All right. And your favorite place to get a bite to eat, something to drink at the end of the day?
In town?
Yeah, just if I'm fishing the Truckee, where could I go? Is there some cool stuff up in the mountains, or you down in town somewhere?
If you're on the river up in Verdi, Sasquatch or Chop 40, those are great spots. If you're in town and you're looking for something a little fancier, Liberty is a great spot. Granite Street, great spot. Those are
a lot of options in Reno.
We have a lot of good food now.
Okay.
Which is great.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, how can people get in touch with you if they want to book a trip?
Yeah, so renoflyshop.com is the easiest way. You can get all of our information there. Just redid the website, so it's pretty streamless. It's awesome.
Okay.
Social media is also Reno Fly Shop is probably the best way to go.
All right, good. There you go, folks. Give Mike a call, give the Reno Fly Shop a call, and check out the Truckee River and some of these other fisheries in the area. It sounds awesome. Wish you extraordinary success in all your adventures to follow Mike. And folks, thank you for listening. You can DM me or email me with comments and suggestions, and I love hearing from people, so please do. It's shag@destinationanglerpodcast.com. If you like the show, please share it with a buddy. As always, our music is by A Brothers Fountain. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time. Tight lines, everybody.
Well, I'll go from the land to the shining sea. But I know there's more to life than what the eye can see.